The Gyanvapi complex in Varanasi is one of the most sacred and contested sites in India. It is home to the Gyanvapi Mosque, built by Mughal Emperor Aurangzeb in the 17th century, and the Kashi Vishwanath Temple, dedicated to Lord Shiva, the Lord of the universe. The two structures stand side by side, separated by a wall, as a symbol of the centuries-old religious conflict and coexistence in India. But what is the history behind this complex? How did the mosque come to be built on the site of the temple? And what evidence exists to support the claims of both communities? To answer these questions, we need to go back to the 19th century, when a British scholar and archaeologist named James Prinsep made a remarkable discovery. Prinsep, who is best known for deciphering the ancient scripts of Ashoka, the Mauryan emperor who ruled over most of South Asia in the 3rd century BCE, lived in Varanasi for 10 years, from 1820 to 1830. During his stay, he made significant contributions to the city's infrastructure, culture, and history. He built the city's underground sewage system, which is still operational today, restored the Alamgir Mosque, another Mughal monument, and drew detailed maps of the city. He also published a book in 1831 titled Benares Illustrated, a series of drawings, in which he used lithography, a printing technique that involves engraving images on metal plates to depict the various scenes and landmarks of Varanasi. One of the most important illustrations in Prinsep's book is the one that shows the Gyanvapi complex. Prinsep drew a lithographic map of the old Kashi Vishwanath temple and showed how Aurangzeb's Gyanvapi mosque stood on it. He also provided a detailed description of the architecture and history of the site, based on his observations and local sources. Prinsep wrote, "The view was taken from the southwest corner of what is now called the Juma Masjid, or principal mosque of the city. The dome and minaret surmounting the Hindu walls are the work of Aurangzeb, and the tombs are of the same date. The Musulmans, in their zeal for the triumph of their own religion, discovered a method of converting the original structure into a capacious masjid without destroying above one half of its walls, so that not only the ground plan, but the entire architectural elevation may still be traced out." Prinsep's illustration and description reveal several important facts about the Gyanvapi complex. First, they confirm that the mosque was built by Aurangzeb, the 6th and most controversial Mughal emperor who ruled from 1658 to 1707. Aurangzeb is widely regarded as a religious fanatic who persecuted non-Muslims, destroyed Hindu temples, and imposed Islamic laws and taxes. He is also credited with expanding the Mughal Empire to its greatest extent, covering most of the Indian subcontinent, Afghanistan, and parts of Persia. Second, they show that the mosque was built on the site of the old Kashi Vishwanath temple, which was one of the most revered shrines of Hinduism. The temple was dedicated to Lord Shiva, who is believed to reside in Varanasi and whose manifestation as a lingam, or phallic symbol, is worshipped by millions of pilgrims every year. The temple was also associated with several legends and myths, such as the one that says that Lord Shiva appeared as a pillar of light at the site, and the one that says that the temple was built by Lord Brahma, the creator god, as a tribute to Lord Shiva. Third, they indicate that the mosque was not entirely a new construction, but rather a modification of the existing temple. Prinsep noted that the Muslims used the material from the destroyed temple to build the mosque, and that they preserved some of the original walls and pillars. He also observed that the mosque had a peculiar shape, with a rectangular courtyard and a semicircular dome, which was different from the typical Islamic architecture of the time. He wrote, "The bigotry of Aurangzeb did not allow many vestiges of this more ancient style to remain. The dome and minaret are of the usual form, but the body of the building is irregular and evidently not constructed for the purpose to which it is now applied. The court is a long parallelogram instead of a square, and the cloisters which surround it are supported by a triple row of Hindu pillars, evidently taken from some more ancient edifice." Prinsep's illustration and description are not the only evidence that support the claim that the Gyanvapi mosque was built on the site of the Kashi Vishwanath temple. There are also historical records, such as the memoirs of Aurangzeb's court historian, Saki Mustad Khan, who wrote that the emperor ordered the demolition of the temple in 1669 and the construction of the mosque in its place. There are also archaeological findings, such as the remnants of Hindu sculptures and inscriptions that can be seen on the walls and pillars of the mosque. And there are also eyewitness accounts, such as the one of the French traveler Jean-Baptiste Tavernier, who visited Varanasi in 1665 and wrote that he saw the temple standing, and then again in 1673 and wrote that he saw the mosque standing. However, the evidence is not conclusive, and there are also counter-arguments and alternative interpretations that challenge the claim that the Gyanvapi mosque was built on the site of the Kashi Vishwanath temple. Some scholars, such as Richard Eaton, have argued that Aurangzeb did not destroy temples out of religious intolerance, but rather out of political strategy to suppress rebellions and assert his authority. They have also suggested that the temple may have been already in ruins, or that it may have been relocated to another site before the mosque was built. Some historians, such as Rumila Thapa, have questioned the authenticity and accuracy of the historical records, and pointed out that they may have been influenced by biases and agendas. They have also proposed that the archaeological findings may have been the result of cultural exchange and syncretism rather than destruction and appropriation. The debate over the Gyanvapi complex is not just a matter of academic interest, but also a source of social and political tension. The complex has been the site of several violent clashes and legal disputes between the Hindu and Muslim communities over the ownership and control of the land. The most recent case was filed in 2019 by a Hindu priest who sought the removal of the mosque and the restoration of the temple. The case is still pending in the court and has sparked protests and controversies among the religious groups, the political parties, and the civil society. The Gyanvapi complex is a microcosm of the larger question of the role of religion and history in India's identity and destiny. It is a question that has no easy or definitive answer, but rather requires a nuanced and balanced approach that respects the diversity and complexity of India's past and present. It is a question that James Prinsep, the British scholar and archaeologist who lived in Varanasi for 10 years and who drew a lithographic map of the old Kashi Vishwanath temple and the Gyanvapi mosque, may have pondered over as he witnessed and documented the changing landscape and culture of the city. It is a question that we, as the inheritors and makers of India's history and future, must also ponder over as we seek to understand and appreciate the Gyanvapi complex and its significance and relevance for our nation and our world.